5 minutes of anger, you got 5 years in jail.
Yeah.
And then on your first year, you probably still don't care. Second year, you don't care. Like third year, you're like, damn, son, I really just sat here for some bullshit. Fourth year, you're like, son, I ain't get no pussy in 4 years. You know what I'm saying? That's real shit. That's how when I was locked up, when we was locked up, I was just sitting there like, damn, son. Don't get me wrong. The way I looked at it, it was like it was a cause. So I wasn't thinking about right or wrong at the time because of what the events occurred. But when you get older and you come out, I came home and I went to McDonald's and they had touchscreens and I felt lost. Like I felt lost. Like, yo, they got touchscreens? The hell, I'm getting on the phone. I feel weird. So I'm like, yo, I lost all this time in my life. The world's still going on. It don't be worth it. So
Yeah.
That's why it's so important for young men to understand the importance of controlling your emotions and not putting your future in the hands of other individuals. I mean, nowadays we see it with, especially with these younger men, crashing out over the simplest things, whether it's women, whether it's feeling disrespected over something as simple as a person maybe bumping into you, stepping on your sneakers. They're willing to crash out and spend the next 15, 20, or in some situations, the rest of their life in jail over something very simple.
What's going on, man? It's your boy, man, Daryl Jermaine, and you back tuned in to another segment of your side, their side, and the damn truth, and that's a fact. Yo, so a lot of you guys don't know me. I'm just basically like really coming on the scene as far as like being a content creator, but years back, I did 10 years in the Department of in South Carolina Department of Corrections, and man, it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice. I was 17 years old. You know, I had to grow up in prison. You know, but that's another story for another day. I ran across this post right here, and it just caught my attention, and I really could resonate with this, and it's so true. And I would like to share this with y'all. This guy says, 5 minutes cost me 10 plus years of my life because I made a permanent decision off of a temporary emotion, which is absolutely true. He says, 1 minute, thought of being disrespected. You know, a lot of people, period, ain't gonna take disrespect. 3 minutes, brawl in club. Clubs are never good. I never go to clubs, man. I never go to clubs, man. Even before I did my time, I wasn't really a club head. 1 minute, shooting. 7 out of 10 times when you go to clubs, it's either gonna be a fight or it's gonna be a shootout, or it's gonna be both. It's gonna be something. That's why I never really indulged into the club scene. I never liked the club scene. But let me read on. He says, miss my son's birthday and 10 birthdays. Miss my daughter's birthdays from 6 to 15. Wow, that's a long time. Then he says he had to pay a $15,000 legal costs. $15,000 for 5 minutes of making bad decisions.
As you can see in this example, what this gentleman is explaining, this man was in a club, got into a fight, and it escalated into a situation that he probably never imagined. And it wound up costing him 10 years in jail. Another important thing is controlling your emotions, but also is being aware of the environments that you put yourself in. Because sometimes we go to places, we visit certain areas that we know we have no business in. And that also plays a huge part in ultimately what can happen. So when you really want to be ahead of the game, you got to be smart and say, man, I don't even have no business being down here at this time because I know something bad can happen, and avoiding the situation completely. Again, with the lack of father figures in a lot of these, especially young Black men's lives, A lot of them don't know how to control their emotions properly. They have a lot of pent up rage, aggression, and frustration, which comes from a lack of love. And they express that hurt by trying to hurt others. And in the long run, they only wind up hurting themselves by making, again, like I said, making a temporary decision that can affect them for the rest of their life. So we definitely got to get back to try to reach out to these young men if we can. I mean, because sometimes, again, it's too late. I think the best key is to try to get them when they're younger, before they try to get involved in gangs and stuff like that. That's going to show them fake love and really just use and dispose of them. We got to try to get to them young, because when they get older, sadly, it's really hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Boy G the Honcho. As y'all can see, man, a little bread, a little meat, gravy, greens, peas, and whatever else this stuff is, man. All of it no good. Look at this stuff, man. It ain't no good. But anyway, man, I was just thinking, man, I had something on my mind. When I first started social media, I used to reach out to my friends and stuff, send them links and tell them to subscribe to my page. But the people that you want to support you the most, man, don't even support you. It be people that you don't even know, man. It's a sad thing, man, but it's the truth. I had to learn how to not to take things personal, feel no type of way, man. Just take it how it come, man, and just keep pushing. I hope y'all had a good day today, though, man. I just want to express myself. I'm gone, man. Love y'all.
And one thing you also have to understand is the world is going to move on. Just because you're in jail, just because you're in prison, rather, no one's really going to think about you. A lot of times, it's only maybe your mom that's going to be the one writing you, your best friends, your cousins. These people are going to move on without you. They're going to move on. They're going to say, that they were loyal to you and this and that. But the reality is they're going to move on and they're going to live their life. So that's why it's so, so important to understand, to avoid these situations altogether by learning how to control your emotions. And really, what's the bigger issue is controlling your ego, not letting your ego get the best of you. The ego, that's the devil. That's the devil, and that's going to get you jammed up and put you in predicaments that you don't want to be in.
Sean Simpson came into Gaston County Court at points wiping away his tears as he stood before a judge. Just 16 years old, he's being charged with first-degree murder as an adult. That's as a result of a law change that went into effect in December, which allows teens his age to be charged as an adult in certain crimes. There was a realization that during this proceeding that the gravity was hitting him, a grand jury indictment that could come in the near future, and a moment that hit when a judge told him that he would not be seeing freedom anytime soon.
Court may impose a hold without bond. Court finds sufficient allegations to support the charges. Considering the relevant factors of the charges, he is ordered held without bond.
This moment is tough to watch, but it was something that Zaquavius Dawkins' family says they needed to be here for. Simpson accused of killing Dawkins Sunday night along Chester Street. Simpson also accused with attempted first-degree murder involving another victim. Dawkins' family says he was going to get medical supplies for his mother when he was killed. After Wednesday's court appearance, things were still raw for Dawkins' family.
It's affected everybody, even the neighborhood.
Well, I mean, now he want to cry and can barely stand up, but he wasn't crying when he pulled that trigger and killed this young man. I really don't feel bad for him. He better toughen up. All that crying and you can't stand on your own. We've done videos on my channel talking about YN turning into prison wives. Again, like I said, he better be war ready, because he's going to be going in there with grown men with nothing to lose, and he's going to be looking like fresh meat.
Can cost you 20 years in jail right now.
That's a fact.
You feel what I'm saying? And I learned that from Wallow. So that's probably what I would answer that question that you asked me before. What's the best advice I learned from somebody? The nigga Wallow from Philly.
Yeah.
Like, be mindful of your situation, because 5 minutes can cost you 10 years.
Again, not only be mindful of your situation, be mindful of the people who you are around that can put you in negative predicaments, and ultimately you may catch a bullet that was meant for them.
Here go 20 years, we'll see you in 15. When I was in jail, me and a friend of mine named Stone stole this dude some cigarettes. We wasn't supposed to have them. We smuggled them in the jail. And instead of him paying us, he decides to try to sign into protective custody so that he could be moved to another block and we wouldn't be able to retaliate. So we then went to the counselors and tried to sign in the PC also, but because of the reputation we had in the jail, they said we doubt that y'all fear for y'all life and safety and denied our request to sign in protective custody. Fast forward like 4 months later, I see the guy in the courthouse. He was going to court. I was going to court. We ain't had handcuffs on. They put him in a bullpen. I hit him, broke his jaw, and stomped him in front of the sheriffs. Y'all was dumb. Even though he was in the wrong for burning us for our product, that didn't prevent him from coming to court and testifying and pointing me out and saying, yeah, he did it, and so forth and so on. So that didn't work out in my favor. 14 years later, I went to trial in the feds for a violent offense that would have got me 1 year. But because I had that assault case from the county jail for beating that dude up, I was classified as a career criminal and got 17 and a half years instead of the 1 year. So I just really want y'all to understand that y'all think that being out and about, punching people, slapping people, beating on people, punching on people, etc., 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 is not a big thing, and that you're not going to get a lot of time for it. You're going to be able to get you're going to get probation, all that different type of stuff. You continue on that path, that stuff add up. They keeping track of everything you do. They don't forgive nothing. They don't forgive. The system don't forgive nothing. They keep track of everything that you do, and they make you pay for it in one way or another. So the decisions that I made when I was 16 years old came back to haunt me years later when I was in my late 20s, because I wasn't thinking, because of my belief system, because of peer pressure, because of, me thinking that if I didn't just let it go, that people was going to try to take advantage of me or look at me different and all of these different things that I know that these kids is out here feeling. But none of that stuff matters, man. The only thing that matters is your well-being and your ability to progress in life. It's not a whole lot of progress from prison. So I just want you to really use my story and make better decisions than we made. Don't do the stuff we did. We paid for it.
Facts, man. Solid message to the youth, where you shown how, even though, like I said, the gentleman should have never stole the cigarettes from him in the first place, and eventually he caught up with this gentleman, in the courthouse, and wound up punching him and breaking his jaw, and it resulted in him getting an additional 17 years in prison. Again, we gotta not move off of temporary feelings, but always try to look at the long term, always look at the big picture. You always want to look at your life 5 to 10 years out and try to plan a position based off of that. You don't want to live a day-to-day existence, again, because that just puts you not in the proper mindset. And also, one thing he touched on in the video is very important. The people that you surround yourself with is important, because sadly today we live in a world where a lot of the youth are followers. They want to be cool, they want to be in, so they wind up following after another person and not understanding when you get jammed up, 9 times out of 10, that person is not going to be around, or they going to tell on you to save their own self.
Is literally giving control to somebody else. I was like, that's never gonna happen again. Never gonna happen again, because I don't like people having control over me. I don't like people telling me what to do. If someone or something angers you, that means whatever they did, you gave them power. You gave them the power to control your emotions. When you allow someone or something to control your emotions, you are giving them power and you are now reacting. I want to maintain control and power and respond. And so when I figured that piece out, it changed my life.
We're going to wrap it up like this. You never want to put yourself in a predicament where someone else is in control of your own future or your destiny. But let me know how you feel in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.